Hello YouTube, LJ Draco here. Yes, this is the 1st of November. I'm sorry that I couldn't do this video yesterday. I was really ill, really tired, had a lot to do. Didn't get around to doing a lot. I've uploaded a couple of videos, which I just want to quickly say. I don't care if people dislike my videos in like not in a nasty way. It's just, if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not asking you to watch it. But if you just dislike one video, but then you decide to be an ass and start disliking a bunch of my videos, you're an idiot. It doesn't really affect me, it just makes you look really bad. So, plus if you don't like, I welcome this all the time. I don't care about criticism, I'm welcome to it. If you don't like my video, don't just dislike it and then ponce off. If you've got a problem with my video, tell me what it is, and maybe I could change it. If you're not rude about it. If you're rude about it, then you're going to get a rude comment back. But yeah, just tell me what you don't like about them videos, and I can talk to you about it, you know? So just disliking it and then buggering off. I'm holding a pile here. This is only one pile out of 4. As you can tell by this video, this is all, well, I'm going to say what I class as horror movies out of these parts. Because I was going through my app where I catalogue all my movies, and a lot of films they were saying were horror weren't really horror. Stuff like Twilight, Red Riding Hood, I Am Legend. I know they can kind of be classed as horror depending on... I just... No. To me, horror is something that terrifies me. Something that I know is scary. I Am Legend, not so much. The Meg, no. I mean, I don't class shark movies as horror movies. I just class them as shark attack movies. It's a completely different category to me. I know someone might disagree, but I don't care. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. No opinion is wrong, regardless of what people may say. So yeah, this ranges from old to new type horror movies. I'm going to start off with my 3D horror, and then my 2D horrors. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to start going through this pile, because it hurts. Right, so 3D, starting off with Creature from the Black Lagoon. I know this is obviously a PG, but this is an olden days horror, which is really good. I really enjoy this. Then we have a Dial M for Murder. I've still not seen this yet, but I will be checking this out. Hidden 3D. Yeah, it's alright. I mean, 3D is amazing for it. Story is a little bit lacking, but it's still an enjoyable watch. House of Wax 3D, definitely a must-own horror, especially in 3D, because it is brilliant. Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimensions. This 3D is really cool, but really annoying. It's 90% 2D. And then there's certain scenes that are 3D, but when those certain scenes reach 3D, they're really, really good. So, yeah. I enjoy that one. World War Z, a much more enjoyable movie in 3D than in 2D, and a great, like, zombie infection movie. My Bloody Valentine. Incredible 3D Blu-ray. Good movie, too. I haven't seen the original, but I've heard the original was amazing. Silent Hill Revelation 3D. A not too bad sequel, but I much prefer the first film. The first Silent Hill was amazing. So that's all the 3D horror. So let's get into the standard. Now there's some films that's not good. Like there, I've got my labeled 3D on the spine 3D films. And then I've got my 2 that don't have the 3D, because I have a weird order. They don't have a 3D logo on the spine, but they have 3D in the title. So they go kind of separately. Same goes for this. I've got 3 genres of horror. I've got my horror, I've got my comedy horror, and I've got my musical horror. So there's some films in here that I forgot to put in the comedy horror section, so I do apologise. But yeah, so 30 Days of Night, great vampire movie. 1408, an amazing, I think, Stephen King adaptation, brilliant. John Cusack and Samuel Jackson worked really well together in this. A Haunted Hotel Room. The remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a great movie, but I enjoyed this a little bit for the sake that we get to see a little bit more of what happened to Freddy and why he came back and why he's the way he is. We got to see that kind of background, whereas you just hear a little bit about it in the original. So I do enjoy it still. But then we have the Nightmare on Elm Street collection, which is just fantastic. Probably one of my favourite sets of horror movies to exist. A Quiet Place, I've not seen but heard it's amazing, and I'm getting around to watching this as soon as possible. American Werewolf in London. Yes, I was going to get the Arrow release, but then I realised I don't really need to fork out for it if I've already got it. Yes, this may be the Universal release. I don't care. I'm still going to enjoy the movie. I mean, I enjoy it already, so. Backtrack. This is a psychological thriller horror. I actually got this on recommendation, technically from Kermit's Ghost. Link to his channel will be in the description below. Yeah, I got recommended this due to, well, I didn't personally get recommended. He showed it in the video, he told a bit about the story, and I was like, yeah, I've got to grab it, so I did. Also, there's quite a few titles, like the American Werewolf in London that was given to me by my friend Sasha. Link to his channel will be in the description below too. This is what I was going to put under comedy horror, and that is Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness, which was originally called Evil Dead 3, but they decided to remove that completely from the title, which is annoying, but yeah. We've got Carrie, great movie, fantastic story. Also, these ones I was going to put in comedy horror. Bride of Chucky, it's a hilarious horror. Seed of Chucky, great sequel. Then you got Curse of Chucky, which I was not that keen on. I may need to rewatch it, but I don't remember enjoying it that much. And then we've got the second to newest, Cult of Chucky, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is also great. Christine, also given to me by my friend Sasha. I've not seen this, but I've also heard this is fantastic, so I will be watching that soon. Crimson Peak, I know Arrow's got a release for this, and it's the same story for American Werewolf in London. I don't really need to own the Arrow releases of films that I've already got, if I don't need to, so yeah. Cube, this, for some reason, was not classed as a horror on my app, but yet it was shown on the horror channel over and over and over and over again on cable, so yeah, and it's fucking scary. Right, time for 2 animated horrors, which I still recommend people watch, whether you're a fan of the game or not. These are great animated horror films. Dead Space Downfall, incredible. And Dead Space Aftermath, which is just fantastic. They're both really incredible films. Then we have Deliver Us from Evil. I've not watched yet, but sounds amazing. And if anyone has seen this, let me know if it's good. Hit myself in the glasses. Dog Soldiers. Now, I was kind of determined to not really have any vampire-ish, well, other than 30 Days of Night, I didn't really want that many vampire or werewolf movies in my collection for horror, because I see that more as fantasy than horror, but this film was slightly frightening, so yeah. Right, then we have Doom. This is more of an action horror, but there is some scenes in this that gets really freaking scary. Tons of jump scares, so it is good. It's definitely worth it in the list. Don't Breathe. I've not seen this yet. I've heard it's good. And then we have my most recent pickup, which is Friday the 13th collection. If you'd like me to do, I'm meant to be doing my kind of podcast video at some point towards the weekend to be released next week. If you'd like me to do individual 5-minute reviews on each film, I will gladly do so. But let's just say that 3 out of 8 of these films I freaking hate. The other 5 are reasonable and I enjoy them. So I'm going to pause it here just so I can get to the next pile. Okay, so I've got the next pile here ready. So, got the original Fright Night, great vampire movie, fantastic. For anyone who hasn't seen this, definitely recommend it. The remake of Fright Night. Now, this was not that bad. I mean, considering the original Fright Night 2 was terrible, this is actually a better kind of, I know it's a remake, but it's a better version of the story than Part 2 was. Flatliners, this is definitely a horror, regardless of its rating. I mean, something's very terrifying about this film and for the story itself. Now, I haven't seen this, but apparently this is classed as a horror, so I don't know, but it's a film called Gallows Walkers. I've not seen it, but I've heard it's good, so I was going to check it out. At some point in the future, during one of my podcast videos, you'll know whether or not I think it's a horror. Grave Encounters. This is actually a really fun horror film. It's not exactly like Paranormal Activity, but it does have elements. And the thing that I love about this film is the fact that it it's based on like ghost hunting TV shows, but then things start going really, really wrong. And I kind of like that concept, because it's trying to show that maybe not everything is fake. So it's kind of cool. Okay, so this is going to get kind of weird. We have the original Halloween. I love this movie, probably one of the best. I wouldn't really class this as a horror. I class this more of as a thriller, because there's not many moments where you go like, ah! It's just more like ooh, 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 ooh. Like you're not like scared, but you're kind of anxious, which is what I like. This is a fantastic movie. I think it's flawless. Like compared to a lot of our horror movies, I think this is like a flawless one. I do have the newer Halloween movie, but I got the disc-only copy for extremely cheap, and my friend Sasha, he's actually got a sleeve that he made for me, which I'm really grateful for. Hopefully I'll have that soon, and this will no longer feel naked. Alright. This is another comedy horror that I should have put in the pile, but I didn't, which is Happy Death Day. This is a great movie, and I don't know who doesn't agree with this. I think it is. I know this is going to completely piss off my friend Sasha. I know he's going to absolutely hate that. Just beyond belief. But I do enjoy this film. It is great. It's a horror Groundhog Day, which is just, it's a good combination. Probably my second or third most favourite film, but definitely my favourite horror movie character. Hellraiser, Pinhead, just a fantastic, Clive Barker, man, he is a legend. You know, I mean, even, I said, there's a quote here by Stephen King saying, Stephen King was once famously quoted as saying, "I have seen the future of horror. His name is Clive Barker." And that, I mean, for Stephen King to say so is amazing. But this is also a fantastic horror film. Really good. Really gritty. And this is definitely, you can tell this is an 80s horror, because it just gives so much into it compared to horrors these days. Now, this is the problem. Okay, so just a quick explanation. I haven't stole these from Alice. I bought these off Alice. Just in case you're watching and go, hang on a minute, no, I bought these from Alice. She didn't want them much anymore, so I took them off her hands. I do not know, because I've not seen any apart from maybe 2 of these. Any of these are which of actual horror or thriller or just standard movies, I don't know. But it is the Hitchcock collection, so yeah. I don't know what to say about that one so much. I don't know if this is either, I just saw Hitchcock and thought, okay, it doesn't say, but I got this and the next film in a trilogy box set, which I've still got the box for. It's this one here, because I only wanted Dial M for Murder, but it came with 2 other films, and this one, which I watched recently, I actually really enjoyed this film. It's very intelligent, very cleverly done. I just really hate Bruno. Don't like Bruno. Alright, let's keep moving. This is a porn horror. Don't get me wrong, it's scary and gritty in a lot of parts, but it's also very naked in a lot of parts. But it's actually really enjoyable. It also kind of shows the dangers of travelling alone. This now, I've only ever watched this once, and I remember it being good, but this is a recent pickup from the Arrow £5 sale. I picked up 3 Arrow £5 sale titles, which you'll see all in this video. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I think it's good. From what I remembered, it was okay, but I've got to watch it again. The newer It, Chapter 1, great movie, really enjoyable, apart from the ending, which I've already said countless times about what I think of the ending of this. However, it is still an enjoyable, really good, and quite scary film. Another one given to me by my friend Sasha, Land of the Dead. I think I've seen this once before too. Don't really remember it that much, but it's got John Leguizamo in it. Pest. I like Pest, so I like the actor. Okay. This was also on the horror list, and don't get me wrong, you cannot have Alien in a horror sci-fi list unless you can have this film in that too, because this is precisely, it's basically like a retelling of Alien, and there are some really messed up moments in this, so yeah, I can agree with that being in there. Let's see. Mama, a pretty messed up film. Enjoyable, but messed up. Maniac Cop, starring Bruce Campbell again. Love the man. However, this is an awesome horror movie. Really enjoy. I remember my dad had this on VHS, and I kept getting told, no, you're not allowed to watch it. It's too much for you. It's too much for you. And when I finally watched it, I was just like, what? This is too much. I mean, my first horror film at the age of like 3 or 4 was Return of the Living Dead. This was nothing. This is enjoyable more than anything else. Okay, then we have Mirrors, a great, fantastic horror film. Mind-fudging, but just overall enjoyable. It gives you a phobia of mirrors. Oculus. Now, I've got a lot of hit and misses with this. Good actors in this movie. Reasonable acting in this movie. Story was good. The writing was terrible. The writing made these actors look like they were new actors, and I think that's just an insult. Film was good, definitely had some kind of what the fuck moments, but this was, yeah, the writing for this was really bad, so that's kind of upsetting. Orphan. Now, this was already terrifying enough, apart from the other day I saw a YouTube video about this American couple who did adopt a 30-year-old woman that had a genetic deposition that made her look like an 8 to 10-year-old girl. And when they adopted her, they gave her a bath, and they could clearly see she was a woman, and she would stand over their bed with a knife. So this, I thought, okay, this is a pretty good kind of horror, until I realised it's kind of based on some reality. So I was like, it's even worse. And we all know that I'm terrified of horror movies that's kind of based on a reality. Ouija the original, Origin of Evil, sorry, I did not like the first one, so I sold it, didn't want it, didn't care about it. I don't want to own films I don't like. But this, yeah, this was actually a really good movie. Really well done. So, no, if you like movies about Ouijas, yeah. I'm just going to show these 4 back to back. I like the first one, and the sequels are okay, but I don't ever really watch the sequels that often. Paranormal Activity, Paranormal Activity 2, Paranormal Activity 3, and Paranormal Activity 4. I've actually not seen number 4. I've seen 2 and 3. Now, this is a great horror movie, and I was so excited about showing this to Alice, because I know for a fact that she would have loved it. So, Pathology, great movie, based on doctors who work at a hospital that play a game. And the game that they play is pretty fucked up. So, yeah, I mean, you got Alyssa Milano in this. Milo Ventim, I'm not even going to pronounce. See, can I get that name? Can I get the names in? Nope, it's too blurry. The guy from Heroes, Peter Petrelli. Oh gosh, it's not my camera. Yeah, it's an okay film. So I'm going to pause it here and get the other stack ready. Okay, I'm back with the next pile. Planet Terror. I actually should have put this in the comedy horror section too, because it's actually quite funny. But actually, it's not bad. Pet. This film is weird as hell, but enjoyable and quite gruesome. You've got the guy, what's his name, Dominic Monaghan. He's from like Lord of the Rings. and Lost, plays Charlie in Lost. This film it's pretty twisted. I can't even tell you anything because it will spoil the story. But if you see this anywhere, grab it. It is the most weirdest horror you've ever seen. Trust me. Pet Sematary, the original, love it. Fantastic movie. I think it's kind of... Okay, me and my friend, Lauren, on Lauren's Collection, link to her channel will be in the description below too. We have this great conversation about this because she thinks it's kind of weird that I find it funny. But it's when the boy goes, "No fair, no fair." I think it's hilarious and she doesn't understand why. But I think it is. Good film though. Now this is one that me and her is going to have a problem with. I know this for a fact. Right, so I am a fan and I love the original Poltergeist. Good movie. It sucks about the curse to the film, but I like it. It's a good film. Great horror movie. But I do enjoy this. It's nowhere near as good, but it's enjoyable. I really liked it. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. It was fun, entertaining. If I had a choice of watching this one or the original, I'd obviously watch the original, but I did kind of enjoy this one. So, sorry. I have to be truthful. Right, I'm just going to show all of these as one big set, okay? Because I am not going through all of these individually, because that can go and suck a dong. Okay, ready? Prometheus through to Predators. I haven't got the newest one yet, but all of these, right? Now, the Alien movies are meant to be classed as horror, sci-fi, horror. And same goes for Predator. There we go. They're there. Right? That's them done. Okay. The Resident. This is actually a pretty good horror. This deals with some real life situations. About a woman who moves into a building, an apartment, which is run by a man and his father, and how there's kind of a stalker hiding in the walls, looking at the woman. Hilary Swank, is it Dean Morgan? Jeffrey Dean Morgan? I'm pretty sure it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Lee Pace is in this. I don't remember Lee Pace. And Christopher Lee. The late Christopher Lee. Now, this should have had its own section as well, but I don't know. I don't care. Resident Evil 1, 2, Afterlife, Retribution, and Final Chapter. These are video game horror movies, just like Dead Space, but these are great zombie infection movies. So, I mean, Extinction is probably the best Resident Evil film out of all to me, personally. Extinction shows how dark and gritty these horror movies can get. So for me, Extinction's first. But I do, apart from Afterlife, this one and this one, these three kind of fall flat to me. I love the first three. It's the only one in this series I'm ever going to own, and it's Saw, the original Saw. What a mindfuck. Great movie, fantastic. I said the ending to this is perfect. Story is perfect. Genius storytelling. Great acting by all the cast. Just brilliant. I refuse. The sequel, the second one is okay, and I haven't seen Jigsaw, but I've seen all the other sequels. Apart from the part 2, the rest suck. Are horrible, non-enjoying movies. So, you know, yeah. This is definitely in my top 5 favourite horror films. This is also another video game horror movie, but this is one of the best horror films I've ever seen in my life. It's Silent Hill, the first movie. Great horror movie, fantastic. I love the way that they captured the video game world and the horror world into this perfectly without making it feel too much of just a horror film, too much like a game movie. There is some boring, dull scenes involving a man looking for people, but it all works out in the end, and you get more of this than you do of those scenes. Just those scenes are kind of like filler. But fantastic, flawless horror movie. It's brilliant. And the game and the film is kind of based on a real city in America, which is completely coated in like ash and dust. There's tons of people that's gone there to visit it. It's based on like a real empty city. So only like 2 or 3 people actually still live there, which is really weird. But yeah, great movie. Then we have Smiley. I actually think this is really good. A lot of people give this some shit, but I think it's an incredible movie. It's more of a psychological thriller, but it works perfectly. And I like how it says over 30 million trailer views. Now, I like how they said trailer views. I wonder how many of those 30 million people watch the film. I enjoy it. I think it's great. It's definitely one to watch every year, I'd say. In my top 10 favourite horror films of all time, starring the wonderful and amazing Kevin Bacon. Stir of Echoes, just what a fantastic horror movie. And kind of, it slightly deals with some realistic issues, really. I mean, definitely worth a watch. Something I watched recently, I would not consider this a horror, but it comes up as a horror on my app. This is actually based off a DC character from DC Comics. Swamp Thing. Really enjoyable. Really 80s cheese, but really enjoyable. Watched it the other day. Still not seen this yet or the original, but I'm getting around to watching it, and it is The Crazies. I do look forward to watching it. I've got a whole bunch of films I've got to watch through. It's definitely on the list. This, I think, has to be my #1 favourite horror movie of all time, and it is The Descent. It's absolutely perfect. You get the thrills, you get the fear, you get the anxiety. You get cold sweats watching this film, because that's how anxiously afraid you are. It's brilliant, and you don't know how to feel some claustrophobia watching this movie. Okay, so we've got here The Evil Dead and The Evil Dead remake. Brilliant movies. Fantastic movies. Well, I realise I kind of messed up this. This shouldn't have been here yet. But yeah, better movie. Enjoyable, fun remake. It's very rare to find a fun remake, but they do exist. The Eye. Oh, I didn't mess up the order. Oh no, that did deserve to be there. Yay! The Eye, a great Jessica Alba horror. Brilliant story, really well done. I think it's based off an original Japanese horror. I've not seen that one, but I do enjoy Jessica Alba one. This is the only one that I own in the franchise, which kind of sucks. Because I haven't been able to find any of the others. But I did go and see this one in cinemas. So, The Final Destination. It's not proper 3D, it's the stupid red and blue glasses, but it's still a good, fun horror movie. The Fog. The Fog is, yet again, great. Very mild horror, but it's brilliantly well done, so I enjoy that film. Comedy horror. Forgot to put in the comedy horror section again. The Frighteners, great movie. Love Michael J. Fox. I like him in anything. He's just a great actor. Now, this is kind of a weird one because it comes up under the horror, but it's not that terrifying to me. Guyver. I think this is also probably in my top 100 favourite movies of all time. Just brilliant. Right, so now time for a pause and... Okay, so this is the final row, final pile, and let's just get into it. So, The Haunting, great movie. I know there's a series based on this now. Plus, there is a remake with Catherine Zeta-Jones, Owen Wilson, and Liam Neeson. I do enjoy that remake, but this is definitely the better horror film to watch out of the two. The Haunting in Connecticut 2. This one's based on a true story just as well as the first one. It is quite terrifying, not as scary as the first, but this is also just quite spooky. Now these two are recent pickups. One of these is from that £5 Arrow sale, and one of these turned up in my CEX the next day. So, The Hills Have Eyes, the original, and The Hills Have Eyes 2. Both done by Wes Craven. Brilliant. And I remember seeing this and loving this. I haven't seen this, so I look forward to it. I actually do enjoy the remakes as well. I think they're actually pretty good horror movies too. Another Arrow I bought off my relative's husband. The Incredible Melting Man. Never seen it. Looks very bad, but it could be an enjoyable horror film. I've not seen this, but yet again, this came up under horror. I hate this. I hate doing this. It's when the sleeves start sticking out from under the plastic. I don't like that. The Limehouse Golem. I've not seen it, but I look forward to watching it too. The Orphanage, Spanish horror, brilliant movie, done by Guillermo del Toro. The Possession, also based on a true story about a Dybbuk box. Now this is just fudged up. Yet again, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Love the man. Great actor. The Rite, also inspired by true events, based on Exorcism, starring Anthony Hopkins. And the guy that plays Hook from Once Upon a Time, the TV show. Great actor, by the way. But yeah, this is a messed up film. The Roommate. It's okay. I purposely took all of my shark-related horror films out of this, so I didn't have to talk about them, and I left one in. The Shallows, I'm not seeing it. I still don't class it as horror. I class it as a shark attack. Thanks to my friend Lauren's collection, I finally got to see this, and I'm looking forward to Dr. Sleep. It is The Shining. Great movie. Bad acting at the start, but it don't half pick up and get better along the way. Another Anthony Hopkins horror, The Silence of the Lambs. Great movie. We all know my embarrassing story of that film. Another one given to me by my friend Sasha, The Thing. Still not seen this, but heard amazing things about it. Amazing things. The Thing. Okay. The Tortured. This is one of those movies where you're kind of like, if I was in that position, would I do the same? Really good. I should have put this under comedy horror too. Toxic Avenger. So bad. It's so bad, it's good. This is my newest one that arrived today, part of that £5 sale, and plus I think it's the final one. I think, did I show the other two? It was Hills of Eyes and Invasion, yeah. So, The Stuff. I've heard good and bad things, so I look forward to seeing it. Yet again, I said I was going to keep all werewolf and vampire kind of stuff out of this, but yet again, this is actually a remake of a Universal horror one, so The Wolfman. And it does actually get pretty scary in some parts. The Woman in Black and The Woman in Black 2, much more terrifying than this one. This one's just meh. It's okay. Yet again, thanks to my friend Lauren's collection. This is another one she sent me. Just brilliant film. Probably one of my best infection zombie movies to exist. Train to Busan. Incredible movie. I don't want to ever pronounce any of the characters' names because I will sound extremely racist or just offensive. But there's a guy in this he's like a bulky, chunky guy. Well, not fat, but like built, wearing a blue tuxedo kind of thing. I want to be that guy. He is a badass in this. But a great movie. Another comedy horror. Tremors. I can't say nothing about that. I mean, I know a specific someone doesn't like me really talking about it that much because it reminds them of someone, but in the end, my dad showed me Tremors and that's why I like it. I'll talk about it as much as I can. The Triangle, great horror movie. It deals with mental health in a way. In a very weird way it does. White Noise, great movie based on EVPs and static to communicate with the dead. Michael Keaton, very, very not talked about much horror movie. Right, so now we've got me comedy horrors, which should have been a bigger pile than it is. Addams Family, it's under horror when I go onto my app, so Lesbian Vampire Killers and obviously Zombieland. Alice Has Shaun of the Dead, so if I had that, it would have been here too. Now I've got my final four, 34 minutes, bloody hell. My final four, which is my horror musicals, which is pretty standard. Little Shop of Horrors, Repo the Genetic Opera, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Sweeney Todd. Right, so that's it. That is all my, what I class as horror movies in general. That's all I own for horror. So that is the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video and previous videos, don't forget to strike that like for future videos. And if you're new to my channel, only seen a couple of my videos, click that subscribe button down below. I'd surely appreciate it. Anyway, take care, you wonderful, wonderful people, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye! There goes a blooper.